Hopefully the third time's the charm, because there's something about getting through a script that takes 75 to 90 minutes to film and having to do it 3 different times because the first 2 attempts had audio issues. That sort of breaks my brain. That is why you're seeing and hearing my backup audio tool, this lav mic, instead of my usual mic that I probably need to buy an external recorder for. The reason I get right into my videos without saying any hello or intro is because I'm not into unnecessary cliches. I know, I'm just not like the other boys. How many times have you clicked on a YouTube video and the first thing that creator says is some variation of, "Welcome back to my channel," often followed by their name? You also won't hear me say any common video closers like, "See you in the next one." I'm not seeing you. I'm alone in a room talking to a camera lens like someone who belongs in a psych ward, and this is giving the illusion that I'm talking to you directly as if I'm seeing you. Anyway, I'm going to use this video as just a brain dump about my general thoughts on YouTube, as well as a sort of state of the channel address. This video was mainly born from my guilt of having not posted in a while, which I blame on my recent lack of creative inspiration, which I will get to later in the video. But going back to YouTube cliches, you won't hear me unironically tell you to like, comment, or subscribe, because I'm pretty sure that anyone whose journeys take them on the unlikely path to one of my videos already knows how to use the internet and probably already knows what they like or dislike. I understand why YouTube cliches exist. They're formulaic growth optimizers for those who've systematized their production, because YouTube is either part of or all of their business. I don't intend to make a living on this channel. That's why I don't have sponsors or mid-roll ads, even for my longest and most viewed videos. For example, my San Francisco movie is my second most viewed video ever. It's one of my longest videos, and it's divided into chapters that could easily be broken up by mid-roll ads. But as a viewer, I hate mid-roll ads, so I cannot stomach putting them into any videos if I'm not trying to turn YouTube into a career. Now, I should note that I won't judge other creators who use mid-roll ads or have sponsors, because their ability to pay their bills depends entirely on how much they can squeeze out of YouTube. I say that because I'm not totally against doing that for myself on channels that are not this one. I have other channels I've abandoned. They were more focused on niche subjects, and it's those niche subjects that I would be willing to treat more as a business, whereas this channel is one I mainly use for communication and creating air quote art. If my goal was to grow as fast as possible on YouTube, my subscriber count would likely already be in the tens of thousands, trending towards that first play button. I would have simply had to do 3 things I don't currently do. Further loosen my already pretty amateur quality standards, embrace YouTube Shorts, and settle into a niche that enables regular production of videos. If there is a good thing from an audience perspective about a creator turning YouTube into a business, it's that it holds the creator more accountable to post regularly. As you may have noticed, I don't post regularly because I'm not beholden to a schedule that often comes from one's livelihood being directly attached to how frequently that creator produces. I'll just post a video whenever I get an idea I feel is worth talking about, which is almost never, and that I can also execute in a way that's at least mildly satisfying. Unfortunately, I'm in a massive creative rut. Actually, I'm in a general rut, most likely due to the health issue I've had for 6 months and counting that's basically a medical mystery to doctors. To brief you on it, I get nausea after just a few short minutes of walking or riding in a vehicle. And I've already created 2 videos about it. If you ever get a third video, it will likely be a full documentary about how I hopefully came out the other side of it. But focusing specifically on the creative wing of my rut, I just don't generate good ideas. By good ideas, I mean ideas that appeal enough to me to begin to put work towards them. Generating ideas has always been a weakness of mine. When I was an art major at UC Berkeley, I got B's on basically every project because my artistic execution skills were decent, but my ideas were uninspiring, sometimes even to me, but I had to turn in something. To be fair to me, I didn't really care about my classmates' projects either, so maybe my idea of an idea is just miscalibrated? It could explain why I'm notoriously critical of many movies my friends seem to enjoy, but I'd rather sit through a bad 2-hour movie than a 40-minute academic art critique. Another creative struggle I often battle is that my rare, seemingly good ideas often don't make the final cut. In early February, I began writing about why I've never had a girlfriend, intending to release the video on Valentine's Day. But then I got a second idea that branched from the initial idea. I wrote multiple pages for each idea, and neither got past the chopping block. The reason? As each script grew, it was apparent that recombining these ideas into one script, completing it, filming it, editing it, and uploading it by Valentine's Day without rushing it would have been impossible. Whenever I get into a deep creative rut, I go on a desperate search for inspiration. This current search has unsurprisingly come up empty. Inspiration is one of the most valuable and probably most underrated forces of human productivity because it basically simplifies the two hardest parts of accomplishing anything. Those two things are idea generation and simply getting started. It's important to not mistake inspiration with motivation. Those are two different things, and I have plenty of general motivation. I have to mention that because in the past, whenever I've mentioned to my friends on social media that I'm lacking inspiration, one of them always recommends a motivational speaker. As useful as motivational speakers can be for people who refuse to get off the couch, they're pretty useless for me or frankly anyone who's self-motivated. This creative rut might be why I feel like I'm in that late 2010s, early 2020s Disney era of only wanting to make remakes and sequels. Part of it is because the only thing more mundane than my voice is my life. And the experience of life is what sparks creativity, which usually only happens when you don't have a mystery medical condition that's basically prevented you from living a life outside of your apartment for the past 6 months. Another part of the urge to produce remakes is that as time goes on, I'd like to believe I've improved as a storyteller, which motivates me to paint over flaws I've made in past videos. Over time, those flaws get exposed by a combination of my ever-evolving creative taste and comments not directly addressed by older versions of those videos that I can address in the updated versions. I should also acknowledge the possibility that I'm becoming less creative because I'm just getting older. But to be fair to me, it could also be the fact that few ideas are original at all, and that I need to lean into my urge to just create the remakes I have in my head. Everything is derivative. My recent reaches for creative inspiration have been regular reminders of this. In February, I ordered the Oppenheimer and Barbie screenplay books. The first page of the Oppenheimer screenplay book mentions that Nolan's screenplay is based on the 2005 novel American Prometheus, The Triumph and Tragedy of J. Robert Oppenheimer. And do I even need to talk about the movie that's based on the most popular Mattel product with an intro that parodies a Stanley Kubrick film that came out 55 years prior? One of my hobbies is watching the 1 to 2 minute Family Guy clips and occasional old school Simpsons clips that appear on my YouTube homepage, and I'm somehow just beginning to realize how many existing creative works each of those shows have parodied. And that's not to mention how early Family Guy was accused of being a Simpsons ripoff, and modern Simpsons has been accused of being a Family Guy ripoff. I mean, Disney exists as the behemoth that it is because it just took fairy tales, whitewashed them to be palatable for general audiences, and then created animations from them. I also recently watched The Devil Wears Prada for the first time, and a graphic at the beginning of the movie mentions that it's based on a novel of the same name. And I recently watched The Pianist for the first time, and that's a film based on the memoir of a pianist who lived in World War II Poland. That's my long-winded way of feeling better about the fact that I don't have any new ideas. And to those of you who are looking for creative inspiration, just take something that already exists and make it better. I can't even begin to imagine how much Star Wars fan fiction probably exists. And I've seen and heard some impressive Batman fan fiction that retcons the Joel Schumacher films, though admittedly I'm one of the weirdos who likes Batman Forever the way it is. Perhaps I and too many other people who identify as creatives too often care too much about being original instead of just sticking to what works. There's a reason I find myself listening to the same music over and over again to get me through my work days. It's because, here comes the old man in me again, when I try to listen to any music that's come out after 2017, it doesn't generate any positive emotions in me, and I'd rather work in silence. Anyway, I made a video a while back about where ideas come from. It's deservedly one of my worst performing videos ever because you're probably better off taking dating advice from me than advice about this topic. But at least the video you're watching right now hopefully better communicates what I was trying to get at in that video. A final reason I haven't made many videos recently is that right now I'm focused on bigger projects that aren't necessarily traditional YouTube videos, even if they happen to eventually make it onto this channel. Idea generation isn't as much of a problem with those projects. The problem with those will be finding the time and resources to accomplish those larger projects, and that's pending my health. I know I was all over the place with this one, but hopefully you got something in exchange for the time you generously gave to me.